Well, Dana Brown did say the Astros could sign some free agents this offseason. Could maybe a Houstonian come home? We'll talk about this on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talk Astros. You find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Thank you for making us your part of your daily routine, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate everything that you do for us. We appreciate all the everydayers, people that listen to this podcast every day. Brett couldn't make it tonight, but he says his highs, and I just think that we do appreciate everything that you do. So, guys, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Brett does it. I do it. I mostly do it during baseball season, but if you like football, baseball, basketball, doesn't matter. But this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. So I wanted to run my game as a Astros GM. We don't know what's going on with Alex Bregman. I don't know if you remember the other day we did a podcast, and I just feel like it was kind of a goodbye for Alex Bregman. And it was just like a situation where he said, thank you to all the Houston fans. Thank you to everybody that supported him this year. But it just felt like it was time for, I just feel like the glasses are off. So it just feels like it was kind of a goodbye. That doesn't mean that the Astros can't re-sign him, but it's just a situation where I don't know if he's coming back. The Astros would have to shell out a lot of money in a lot of years. So Alex Bregman is questionable. I know Jose Altuve wants him back. I know that Joe Espada wants him back. I think a lot of people want Alex Bregman back. So what if he doesn't come back? There's not that many options at third base on the free agent market. Oh, Brett and I talked about that the other day. So you've got to come up with a plan B. I know that everybody wants to go out and get Pete Alonso, but that may not be the answer. Pete Alonso is a great player, but he may not fit into the budget, into what the Astros are trying to do here, even though he's a great player and he's actually fits for this ballpark with his pull. The fact that he's a pull hitter, he'll hit a lot of home runs in Minute Maid Park. But I just think that it's a situation where the Astros need to look for an answer at first base. They spent all season trying to find an answer. John Singleton, he's not a bad answer, but he's not. I'm not saying that anybody we're going to talk about today is a long-term answer outside of Pete Alonso, maybe Christian Walker, but Christian Walker is getting up there in age too. He's 33. Carlos Santana, he's definitely not the answer. He's the answer for right now, but who knows what's going on. But the Astros are definitely going out there with the idea of they still want to win. Even if they lose Alex Bregman, they're going to go out there and say, hey, we want to get the best lineup out there. And so who's the answer? Anthony Rizzo, hopefully he still stays with the Yankees. He's got a club option for $17 million. And honestly, I don't want anything to do with him. Josh Bell, he made $16.5 million last year. I don't even think I want anything to do with him. He had plenty of chances coming to Houston. But Christian Walker is a guy that I think I would love for him to come. He's only 33 years old. The market value for Christian Walker is about 3 years, $66 million. So about $22 million per year. So that's going to be a little bit high. And if you want to talk about Pete Alonso, the market value for Pete Alonso is probably going to be super high, especially with what he's doing in the postseason. It's probably going to be about 6 years, $174 million. That's about $29 million per year. So if you're not going to give Alex Bregman that type of money, why would you go out and give Pete Alonso that type of money? Yes, Pete Alonso is a little bit better of a hitter, so to speak. He might be a little bit younger and a better, maybe he'll do better at Minute Maid Park. But I think it's just a situation of that's a lot of money. So if you're not going to pay Alex Bregman, I don't see a situation where the Astros go get Pete Alonso. I think a short-term deal for somebody like Christian Walker, that's a little bit more feasible. But what if we have to go into bargain basement? What if we have to go into the $5 Walmart movie bin? I don't know if they still even do the DVDs. You go to Walmart and you see the big basket of DVDs and there's $5 and you have the dollar bin because they're just trying to get rid of stuff to get the inventory down. So you got to look at those players. I mean, of course, I already mentioned a few of those players. You have Josh Bell. He might be a little bit better, but he's not the same guy he was. You have a whole bunch of other people like Carlos Santana, Joey Gallo, Ryan O'Hearn. He's a guy that might be interesting. He's only 31. He does have a club option for $8 million. I'm pretty sure that the Orioles will pick that up. Yuli Gurriel, he is 40 years old. He made $1 million because he signed late this year. You have Wilmer Flores, who has a player option for $3.5 million. And that's pretty much your bargain basement. So if you want to go to mid-class, yes, he's a little bit older. You're not going to go ahead. I know I've seen a lot of people out there and say, no, I'm already a no, Eric. I think that Paul Goldschmidt, he is from the Houston area. He grew up an Astros fan. His favorite players growing up, Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio. He grew up watching the Houston Astros play. Yes, he's only 3 seasons removed from winning the MVP. Yes, it's been a kind of downward spiral. Yes, he is 37 years old, but you don't have to give him a long-term deal. I would think that it would only take a 1-year deal with maybe a incentive laden or a team option for a second year to bring Goldschmidt home. And just imagine if he gets to come home and play in the city where he grew up watching baseball, that will kind of give him that energy maybe that he kind of lost last year playing for a team that wasn't very good. So we'll talk a little bit more about what type of value Paul Goldschmidt has. He's got like me, he's got a little bit more gray hair now than he used to. He was for years, he was one of the best first basemen on the planet. And it sucks to see these guys go downhill like they have. Jeff Bagwell did it, but that doesn't mean that they can't be serviceable. He's a better option than John Singleton. He plays great defense. He finished 5th in the defensive metrics in the National League this year. He did not qualify for a nomination for a Gold Glove, but he still has always been a good defender. He used to be able to steal some bases. He's kind of slowed down a little bit, but he does offer more than what you could possibly see with any of the players. And this also gives you Zach DeZenzo, whoever you want to play first base. This gives them some time to further develop, to get comfortable at the league. Yes, I see you, Garcia. He is 37 years old. Yes. Okay. We see what Yuli Gurriel is doing at 40 years old. Yes, I know Yuli is a different beast. I know there's you can't really compare the two. We'll talk about what Paul Goldschmidt has done just 3 years ago when he won the MVP. So we'll go and continue this conversation next, and I'll try my best to sell this to you, but I really think that this is possibly an option for the Houston Astros. It's not going to cost you a lot. It's a short-term deal. This is what Jim Crane loves. So, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and make us your first listen. And we do appreciate it. And we'll go and continue this conversation next. Hey guys, let's take a second and talk about PrizePicks. PrizePicks, what is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is this most awesome app. I have it, and it's awesome. You can pick your lineup. You are competing against yourself, and you can even do it during the the MLB playoffs. You could do it during the NFL playoffs. Once we get there, you can even do full seasons. Like I've got a couple lineups set for the NFL season. Of course, I've got some guy named it starts with CJ. Let me just leave it at that. But he's on my roster a few times, and you can go ahead and say, well, how many home runs is somebody going to hit, or how many innings are they going to go? There's just so many different lineups you can set, and you're not competing against Brett. You're competing against yourself. You are the one that gets to set everything, and you're the one that gets to reap the benefits. So check out PrizePicks. It's an awesome app. And just go ahead and do it. It's pretty awesome. So go ahead and download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right. So I know that Paul Goldschmidt used to be more of a runner. And speaking of run your game, but he still got some speed. He still steals some bases occasionally. He still got 11. But in his early days of his career, he would have 21, 32, 18 stolen bases. But he's not a sloth out there. He's got 11 stolen bases last year when he's still 37. I know a lot of people are going to say, but Eric, he's 37. Yes, we know he's 37. There's been a gradual decline, and that's what happens when, especially hitters, they get older. Some of them just kind of lose some of their step. But we are talking about a player in 2022. Remember 2022? Just a few seasons ago when the Astros won the World Series. This is what Paul Goldschmidt did. He batted .317 with on-base percentage of .404, slugging of .578, and a on-base OPS of .981. His OPS plus was .177. Awesome, right? 35 home runs, 115 RBIs, 7 stolen bases that year. He only struck out 79 times that year, 106 runs scored. He got the Silver Slugger that year. Of course, he was an all-star. He's a 7-time all-star. This is a guy that has been dominant at his position for many years. Yes, it was a kind of gradual progression down. In 2023, he only had 25 home runs, 80 RBIs. His batting average slipped down to .268. The OPS went down to .810. The OPS plus went down to .120. Then last year, with the bat on a bad team, the batting average went down to .245. The OPS went down to .116, and the OPS plus went down to 98. 98. That's a below average baseball player. I know that, but he still had 22 home runs, 65 RBIs. His numbers were a lot better in the second half. The power wasn't quite as good in the second half, but the average was, and he found his stroke a little bit, so to speak. In the first half, he batted .230 with a .664 OPS. Second half, he batted .271 with a .799 OPS. So you can look at that as positive notes, but we do know officially that the Cardinals are not going to bring him back. So this is a guy that has a long career with the Diamondbacks. Then he went to the Cardinals. This is a guy that has a lot of experience, and he's also a leader. He can bring that leadership to the team. And I felt last year, I'm not saying the Astros don't have leaders, but I just think that this guy would be another good leader, a cheap leader. So how much would it cost to bring Paul Goldschmidt onto the Astros, he said? Well, good. I'm glad you asked that. So his market value kind of sits around $12.5 $12.3 million for one season. $12.3 million for one season. Well, we can get that. We can maybe get about the same production from John Singleton by paying him a lot less, Eric. Can you? Really? Honestly? Can you really trust John Singleton to really give you what a motivated Paul Goldschmidt in his homecoming, like the homecoming season, I think the first year that Paul Goldschmidt went to the Cardinals, he was a pretty good player. But I think that coming to a new team, especially when it's your home team, it's just another option. Yes, Susan says we'll pay Breggy and Tucker. I'm saying, well, this is a backup plan. I know I don't think that Goldie is Abreu 2.0. Well, that is a good point. We're still paying Abreu. That is a very, very good point, Tiki. That is a very good point. We are still paying Abreu right now. But it's another low risk, high reward. Maybe don't give him a 3-year deal like you gave Abreu, but maybe if it's a 1 year with I don't think that Jim Crane is going to do that type of deal, but possibly maybe if you can get him for 1 year with a team option for a second year, maybe $13 million per season. But if you're saying, well, who does he compare to in this past season? JD Martinez played for $12 million. Justin Turner played for $13 million. Edwin Encarnacion played for $12 million. So that averages to about $12.3 million. So overall, it's probably a good value for somebody that maybe is trying to finish out their career, coming home to Houston, where he idolized Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio. And Bagwell, of all people, if he is as big into the front office as people say he is, well, I guess we kind of know he is, but first base is a big priority. So let's say the Astros strike out with Alex Bregman. Focus on Alex Bregman first. I'm not saying don't focus on Bregman. I would love to see Alex Bregman in Astros uniform for the rest of his career. If not, this is a cheaper option than trying to go out and get Christian Walker. I would love Christian Walker. I love Pete Alonso. I just think that Pete Alonso is a little bit out of the Astros price range. Am I wrong? What about what Jim Crane does makes you think they're going to go out and get Pete Alonso? Be honest with yourselves, guys. We all want to live in this pipe dream where we can go out and get all the best players. But in order to do that, Pete Alonso is 29 years old. I believe he is. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But he's still young enough where actually Pete Alonso is 29 years old. Christian Walker is 33 years old. So if you're talking about the two big bats out there, it's those two. Christian Walker, you can probably get on a shorter term deal, but it's going to cost about $22 million per season. So that's an option. So I know the Astros do have the third highest payroll. Yes, I do know that. And they're not afraid of going over the luxury tax threshold, even though it's going to cost them prospects. It's going to cost them international pool money, but they want to win. They know this window ain't going to stay open forever. And this, especially exiting in the wild card round against the Tigers of all teams, you know that this has opened up the Astros' eyes. And they know that they're going to have to get better, or they're going to have to make some decisions, because they can't keep this whole team together. They're not going to be able to re-sign Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Ramon Valdez. I know a lot of people aren't really high on him right now, but Jeremy Pena is going to have to come in discussion at some point. But you can't keep the whole gang together forever. Just ask the Royals. Just ask some of these other teams. You can't keep a dynasty open forever. So what Paul Goldschmidt would be a way to give the chance for the Astros a chance to win in 2025. for a cheaper option than anything else. I hate to lose Bregman. I hope they go out and get Bregman, but I don't know. I'll have to see it to believe it. Can the Astros get out of that? So we'll see what happens. But guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to us. Go and make us your first listen. Go and subscribe to us, and we'll go and continue this conversation. What do you think, Dana Brown? What should Dana Brown? Be honest with yourselves. If they miss out on Alex Bregman, knock on wood, what's the next move for the Astros? What would you do? Put that in comment. We'll talk about that next. Hey guys, let's go and talk about performance. Not necessarily performance on the baseball field. We know that the Astros fell a little bit short, but you don't want to fall short in the bedroom. So go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about HIMSS. It is changing healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. We all know it's very embarrassing to do this, but this is 100% online, so there's no need to feel uncomfortable going to a doctor's visit. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from the treatment to going on care, whatever it takes. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS, HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. All right, guys, thank you for making us first listen. If you have not checked out the app on your free on Amazon Fire TV stick, go and check it out. It's a free channels app. All you have to do is download the app and search Astros. You can see Brett and I on your big screen TV, and we can go ahead and you can go and see us on your projector. Wherever you want to make us your first listen, go ahead and do that. So I know a lot of people are going to be saying like this: Goldschmidt is too old now. He's on decline. Yes, he is on the decline. We know this. I just told you this. I'm not denying this. I know that this could be another Jose Abreu, but at the same time, Jim Crane ain't gonna give him a 3-year deal. Hey, Paul, you want to come back to Houston? Let me give you a 3-year deal. That's not going to happen. I think this will be a 1-year deal with an option for a second year, especially with what just happened with Jose Abreu. This is a high risk, high reward type thing. If you miss out on Alex Bregman, you got to recover the offense somewhere. Shea Whitcomb, his career is probably going to be pretty good for the Houston Astros. But is it really going to be 2025? Is he going to be the rookie of the year? Or is he going to have so many errors because of what we saw in the last game when he actually replaced Alex Bregman? So there are some unknowns there. So you got to replace the offense. Alex Bregman is a leader on this team. So it would help if you have another leader on this team. Bryce Matthews is my choice to play third base. Will it be to start the season? No. But I think that you have Shea Whitcomb to start the season, and then you'll see what happens there. Maybe Bryce Matthews crushes AAA, and then the Astros feel confident about him playing third base because he has played a little bit of third base. And they say, okay, Bryce, we want you to be our third baseman. That's what happened with Alex Bregman, if you remember correctly. They didn't have a position open at shortstop with Carlos Correa there, so they moved Alex Bregman over to third base. So this could be what happens with Bryce Matthews if Alex Bregman leaves. But this is all kind of a domino effect. And the Astros have said that they want to keep the winning going. They want to do all this. Okay, Garcia, he says that Paul's going to be doing AARP commercials pretty soon. That's not fair because I'm much older than Paul Goldschmidt, and so I'm not doing those commercials. But I get what you're saying. Baseball age is a different thing. We saw a bit of a decline from Justin Verlander, but at the same time, what if he's a temporary solution until you find something else? Don't expect. I see Soto has entered the discussion. If you think the Yankees are going to let Juan Soto go, you're crazy. Look how far they've gone. Yes, the Astros are not in the ALCS this year, but it's because of Juan Soto, because he is crushing it. And I think it was Ken Rosenthal essentially say that it looks like the Guardians should not even be on the same field with the Yankees right now. If the Astros were there, I think it would have been a different situation. But because I think the Astros do play the Yankees pretty good outside of the regular season this year. But at the same time, I don't see the Astros getting the big fish. So I don't want to just go after the minnows. So I just think that Paul Goldschmidt is a decent catch. He's not the all-star. He's probably not the 7-time all-star. He's not the silver slugger. He's not going to come over here and hit 30 home runs, but he's going to do something that we've struggled with this year. He's going to play great defense at first base. He's going to give you at least 10 stolen bases this year, and he'll hit 20 home runs. His batting average may be about what you could get from John Singleton, if not better. I really think coming home, playing in front of his family, where he used to grow up watching the Astros play, that is motivation to play better. So I really think that Paul Goldschmidt would be a good fit. I know a lot of y'all are not going to buy it, but watch. I bet there will be, once the GM meetings start, I think they're going to be starting soon, if not in the next couple weeks, right before the winter meetings start in November or December. No, December is when the winter meetings go. I'm a little bit confused. I'm not used to not talking about playoffs right now. It boggles my mind that the Astros are not in the playoffs right now. But yes, I know Garcia, that in sports world he is AARP. But Goldschmidt is a guy that I think, on top of his game, he probably has a little bit more upside than Jose Abreu. And I think that he's probably easier to fix. I think that Abreu he was on the decline too. I'll give you that. But, oh, by the way, speaking of Abreu, did you hear that the White Sox are potentially on sale? Who wants to go buy the White Sox with me? Anybody? Well, the White Sox are on for sale, especially after losing all those games last year. But we'll see if anybody does that. But there are so many options this season. That's what I love about this podcast, guys, is I get to spend about 30 minutes talking about a player. I'm going to be honest here. Ever since Paul Goldschmidt came up, he's been one of my favorite Astros out there. He reminds me a lot, not necessarily because of how he hits, but just his overall game. He reminds me of Jeff Bagwell. The fact he can steal bases, he's got the power and everything. I guess that maybe that I'm a little biased in that case. Like you see right here, Jeff Bagwell is my favorite player. I mean, no matter what he's doing right now, I'll always think that Bagwell is one of the best players that has ever donned an Astros uniform. And so I'm not saying that Paul Goldschmidt is Jeff Bagwell, but he has some of the same characteristics. He doesn't have the same funky stance that Bagwell did, but he has a funky stance. He kind of holds his bat back this way and kind of bends down, crouches down more than most people do. But he did hit a home run off of Ryan Presley this year. So don't forget about that. So I just think that this will be a low risk, high reward type move. Don't give him a 3-year deal. Please, Jim Crane, for the love of God, don't do that again. But 1 year, what's the harm? Give DeZenzo a chance to third base as well with Wickham. Just think about it. I'll ask Brett when we do the podcast tomorrow what he thinks about it. But guys, that's all we got for this edition of Locked On Astros podcast. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out, and we'll be back again tomorrow. And Brett will be back. And so, thank you for listening. Go and subscribe to us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Go Astros and Dana Brown. Let's go and sign Paul Goldschmidt.